Om Shri Sai Ram. Everyone has often wondered that when Lord Krishna chose to give his message to mankind, why did he choose Arjun to be the recipient of the Bhagavad Gita? What was so special in Arjun that he was chosen out of everyone who was there? So this question had also been asked by some devotees to Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. That Baba, please tell us, why was Arjun chosen by Sri Krishna? Because there were so many great people there in the battlefield. If you look at it, there was Bheeshma there. Who could be better than Bheeshma to be the recipient of the Bhagavad Gita? Bheeshma, who himself used to sing the Vishnu Sahasranama to Lord Vishnu, the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu, who himself was a great devotee of Vishnu, who had remained celibate all his life and had taken a vow to protect Hastinapur. How was he not the right candidate to listen to the message of Gita? And what about Dronacharya and Kripacharya, these two, who were the great teachers in the Kuru court? And about Yudhishthir, he is known as Dharmraj Yudhishthir, the one who is always dispensing justice and is justful. He is never unjust. How come in the presence of all these people, it was Arjun who was chosen? So then Baba explained that when Bhishma could not be considered to be the recipient of the Lord's message, because although Bhishma was a very good man, he was a great man, he had taken a vow, he was celibate, and he was protecting his city, and he was protecting his stepbrothers' children and grandchildren, and looking after the city as if they were his own. But still, there was one grave mistake he had committed. When Draupadi was being publicly dishonored in the Kuru court by Duryodhan, Dushasan, Karn and Shakuni, at that time Bhishma remained silent. He kept his eyes downcast, and he did not respond to Draupadi, who was pleading with all the elders in the court. Draupadi had very high hopes from Bhishma because he was the great-grandfather. So she was constantly looking at him and asking him, Pitame, why don't you say something? Why don't you do something? If Bhishma had said just one word to stop it all, it would have stopped, but he didn't, because for him, his vow was more important than saving a woman's honor. And because of them, Bhishma was rejected. Similarly, with Dronacharya and Kripacharya, these two were the great teachers of all the Kuru princes, both the Kauravas and the Pandavas. They were the teachers. If but once Dronacharya or Kripacharya had told Duryodhan to stop, he would have been forced to stop, because you have to listen to your Guru. You cannot disobey your Guru. But they also chose to remain silent, as if they were the salaried servants of the Kauravas. Because of this, the three of them were dismissed by Lord Krishna in an instant. But then what about Yudhishthir? Yudhishthir was a very just person, very kind. He never did anything wrong. He always thought and did what was right. He was never attached to anything in particular. Why not him? So Baba said, although Yudhishthir was very just and he was called Dharmaraj, but he did not have any discrimination. You see, he first committed the act, and after that he was sorry. He would then later think about the repercussions, what had happened, the consequences, and then he would be very, very, miserable as to what he had done. He was the kind who would repent after the deed. Like when he was called to gamble, he came there to the Kaurava court and he did play the game of dice, and he knew what he was doing, but still, without discrimination, he went ahead and he played the game that brought so much dishonor and so much pain to his own family. And later on, he did repent, but that is not the kind of person the Bhagwan wanted to give the message of Gita to. Even after the Mahabharat war, Yudhishthir was very upset after the war was over. Then he was grieving. Oh, all my elders have died, all my kinsmen have died. But he did not think of this before the war. Then what about Bhim? Why not Bhim? Bhim was also a very powerful, strong, brave and kind person. He was never unjust with anyone. He never bullied anyone. Why not him? Baba said he had no control over his passions, over his desires. Bhim could not be satiated. His need for food was too great. There was too much raga inside him, too much attachment. So he was also not the right person, because the right person has to have discrimination. They have to have a sense of justice, and they have to be able to make the right decision. They cannot be swayed by their attachments or their desires. So then people asked, what about Arjun then? And Baba said, look at Arjun. He asked Krishna to take his chariot in the middle of both the armies before the war started. Before the war started, he wanted to look at everyone. And as soon as he looked at everyone, he realized that they are my own and I cannot kill them. How can I? So he thought this before the war. That is why he was better than Yudhishthir or Bhim. And that is why the Lord gave to him the immortal message of the Bhagavad Gita. Jai Sai Ram.